So here is RIVN Rivian Automotive. This finishes at $41.16 today. That is down 6.35%. And in the aftermarket, this is pulling back even further, down to $36. Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. So here is MULN Mullen Automotive. This finishes at $1.07 today. That is down 6.96%. So once again, we're going to talk about MULN. This is still trending very high up on StockTwits, number 2, after SPY today, although the mentions have been going down. But still a lot of social media sentiment, so let's analyze this. So no company-specific news to justify this price action today. Just seems like the overall market selling off. Squeeze is over for the stock, and this is losing momentum. So let's go ahead and analyze now. So first of all, there's a gap down at 1190. So that's a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to 1190 to fill that gap. May take a while, but eventually it should. And then we have another gap down at 465. So that's another bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to 465 to fill that gap. Also may take a while. This also looks like a big cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being 52 cents, the low, and there are multiple possible tops. It could be 190, 360, 570, 740, $9, 1180, or the high of 1590, although I do think the most realistic tops would be 190 or 360. But those are all bullish indicators that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to one of those tops to complete the cup. And there is a gap up at 62 cents, so that's a bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock may pull back down to 62 cents to fill that gap. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 113 and 98 cents. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 113, 136, 170, 189, 223, 257, 272, 291, and then 322. There is resistance above 322, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 98 cents, 75 cents, 60 cents, and then the low of 52 cents. 52 is the all-time low, no support below that. Yeah, so right now at this current price, 107, the channels to the upside and the downside are pretty decently sized, so expect a regular amount of price action, either way this goes. But if/when this breaks 136 to the upside, the channel starts to open up and get pretty wide, so expect a significant increase in price action if/when this breaks 136 up until 257. Then the channel starts to narrow again. RSI is currently at 40. So that is a little bit below average. So according to the RSI, this current price of 107 should be a little bit higher. And this did 83 million in volume today. Very significant volume. So this sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. So just my opinion, not financial advice, guys. My opinion has not changed in the last few days. So longer term, this looks like a good play. Again, we got some strong bullish indicators. Double gap down, big cup and handle. But short term, this still appears to be pretty volatile. And this gap up at 62 cents looks pretty scary. This did have some strong support at 75 cents. Bounced pretty hard from there. So hopefully this doesn't go back below 75. But if it does, it's probably going back to 62. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, 107 appears to be a good entry if you're willing to hold this for the long term. A lot of upside potential. A lot of tendies to be made in the long term. It should go back to 1190. And that would be about a 1100% upside. But again, in the short term here, this could possibly pull back to 62 cents to fill that gap, and that is a lot of downside potential there. I wouldn't go long here for a quick scalp. That'd be pretty dangerous. But if you're willing to hold over the long term, 107 does appear to be a pretty good entry. So I would support going long at 107 and lower. If it pulls back below 107, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, I would not do that, and I would not recommend that. Not saying it's a bad play. It's just too risky for my liking, so I wouldn't do it. But again, this could pull back to 62 cents to fill the gap. And from the current price of 107, that'd be about a 40% downside. So that could pay off pretty big. Only problem is this is still a really popular stock. Already went down a lot. And if this does run to the upside, which it very well could, this can go pretty bad, pretty fast, and you can get squeezed out. So I would say going short here would be a high risk, high reward play. Not saying it's a bad play, just pretty dangerous. But it could pay off pretty big. So if you want to go short here, I can't support it. Please just do that at your own risk. And I would say please cover at 62 cents once this fills the gap. Get in, get your tendies, get out. Okay, guys, so pretty straightforward. Longer term, this appears to be a good buy. But in the short term, this may pull back to as low as 62 cents. So it may pay off to go short here, but pretty dangerous. So if you want to do that, do it at your own risk. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today, and good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is MULN Mullen Automotive. So here is RIVN Rivian Automotive. This finishes at $41.16 today. That is down 6.35%. And in the aftermarket, this is pulling back even further, down to $36. So there is a reason as to why the stock is pulling back so much today. We did have earnings, so let's check that out. So EPS was negative $2.43, which missed the estimate of $1.97, so a pretty big miss there. And revenue was $54 million, which missed the estimate of $60 million. So miss on EPS and miss on revenue. Pretty bad earnings here. It says the company lost more than $2 billion, and it is going to trim the production targets. So bad earnings and bad news. So the market did not like that, and the market is selling off because of that. So let's go ahead and analyze here. So when the stock first IPO'd back in November, I did predict that it would go below the IPO price of $95, and I didn't think it would go this low, down to $40, but here we are. So there is a gap down at around $61. So that's a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should go back up to $61 to fill that gap eventually. And if this aftermarket action holds up, a new gap down is going to be created at $40. So that would be another bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back up to $40 eventually to fill that gap. This also looks like a big cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being $40, although it does appear like a new bottom of this cup is going to form soon. The top of the cup could be $69.60, $87.45, $107, $123, or even the high of $180. But those are all bullish indicators that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to one of those tops to complete the cup. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is sitting on the support of 41.20, which it finished at today. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 44.15, 46.70, 49.95, 53.60, 57.25, 59.40, 61.60, 64.15, 66.70, 69.60, 72.50, 75.05, 78.70, 81.25, 84.15, and then 87.45. There is resistance above 87.45, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 39.40. And that is the current low, so no support below that. So right now with this current price, 41.16, the channels to the upside are pretty wide, so expect significant price action if this runs to the upside. Up until this hits 57.25, then the channels start to narrow, so expect a significant decrease in price action if/when this hits 57.25. And to the downside, it's uncharted territory, so can't really comment on that. RSI is currently at 31, and that's going to go even lower if this aftermarket action holds. So that pretty much is oversold and undervalued. So this could be a good buying opportunity coming up here. Now financial advice. And this did 31.5 million in volume today. Significant volume. So the sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. Okay, guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. And this is just based on the technicals, not the fundamentals. So this does appear to have a little bit more downside to go. Not done selling off just yet. But the chart does appear to be pretty bullish in the long term. Again, huge cup and handle, double gap down, low RSI, so a lot of strong bullish indicators here, no bearish indicators, and no neutral indicators. So yeah, the chart does look pretty bullish. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, $36 does appear to be a pretty good entry already. But like I said, there still appears to be some downside potential here, so I can support going long at $36. But if you want to hold off for a little bit, you may be able to get an even better price. But this really shouldn't go too much lower to the downside. So I would support going long at $36 and lower. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, I would not do that, and I would not recommend that. Again, a lot of bullish indicators here, a lot of upside potential. And you would be literally shorting at the all-time low, which is never really a great idea. There does not appear to be too much more downside potential, so not too much more money to be made on the downside here, and a lot of upside potential. So there's a good chance you get squeezed out. So it looks like you missed your chance going short here. Should have did that a long time ago, back when this first IPO'd, and at this point, it just looks too late, and really no point in going short here. That would be a high-risk, low-reward play. So pretty straightforward here. Bad earnings, but overall, the chart does look pretty bullish, so it looks like a good buying opportunity coming up here, and really no reason to short this. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today, and good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is RIVN Rivian Automotive. Okay, here is NIO. This finishes at $17.77 today. That is down 11.9%.
And it's gone.
So nasty day here. This did make top 10 on StockTwits today. Major price action, so we will analyze it. So there wasn't any company-specific news to justify this price action today, although we do have a possible explanation as to why Chinese stocks in general are going down. So the SEC has identified multiple US-listed ADRs as having not adhered to the Holding Foreign Companies Accountable Act. So NIO is not included in that list. But in general, this is bearish for all Chinese stocks. All the Chinese stocks are selling off today. But we do have some news on NIO here. NIO debuts in Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So that appears to be bullish, although not really having an effect on the stock price today. Okay, let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, we have a gap down at around $27. So that is a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back up to $27 eventually to fill this gap. It may take a little bit, but eventually it should. And then this appears to be a big cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being the low set today at around $17. And there are multiple possible tops. It could be $23.45, $26.55, $32.10, $33.55, $35.45, $41.55, or $43.05. But those are all bullish indicators that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to one of those tops to complete the cup. Although I do think the most realistic tops would be $23.60 or $26.55. And if we go back on the 3-year chart here, there's a gap up at $9.55. So that's a bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock may come back down to $9.55 to fill this gap. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is sitting on the support of $17.75, which we finished at today. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be $18.45, $19.05, $20.20, $21.05, $21.80, $22.35, $22.95, $23.60, $24.15, $24.80, $25.35, $25.85, $26.55, $27.30, $27.80, $28.26, $28.75, $29.40, $29.95, and then $30.65. There is resistance above $30.65, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be $16, $14.35, and now we're going back 3 years here, $12.70, $11.05, $9.55, and then $7.85. There is support below $7.85, but we're not going to discuss that right now. So right now at this current price, $17.22, the channels to the upside and downside are very wide, so expect significant price action either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks $21.80 to the upside, the channel starts to narrow, so expect a significant decrease in price action if/when this hits $21.80. And to the downside, if/when this hits $7.85, the channel starts to narrow. So expect a significant decrease in price action if/when this hits $7.85. RSI is currently at 35, so not quite oversold and undervalued, but quickly approaching that. And this did 105 million in volume today. Very significant volume, so this sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. Okay guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. Longer term, this looks like a really good stock. NIO is a legit company, one of the biggest EV companies in China. That being said, China has not been doing great for the past year. The government is purposely tanking the market, and I believe it's not going to be over anytime soon. Still a lot of Chinese FUD. And then we have the gap up at $9.55 and very wide downside channels. So if this continues to run to the downside, which I expect it to, this can go pretty bad. So I do think there is a lot more downside potential to go, unfortunately. So if you want to go long, not financial advice, I would not do that, and I would not recommend that. As I just said, looks like there's still a lot of pain to go to the downside here. So I would hold off for right now. I would just observe the price action, see when this starts to bottom out and catch support. But I really wouldn't be surprised if this does come back down to $9.55 to fill this gap. I think that would be a really excellent entry. And if it pulls back below $9.55, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but I'm kind of expecting it, to be honest. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, that's probably going to be a good play. Again, looks really bearish in the short term. This will probably continue to keep pulling back. I don't know how low it's going to go, but again, $9.55 is very possible. So from this current price of $17.75 down to $9.55, that is about a 45% downside. So a lot of money to be made here on the downside. And again, there are wide channels to the downside, so this can go pretty bad pretty fast. So I would say going short here would be a low risk, high reward play. I don't expect for the stock to make a comeback anytime soon, and a lot of downside potential. So this could pay off pretty big. So I can't support going short at $17.75 and higher. And I would say cover at $9.55. if/when the gap fills. But even if it doesn't come back down that low, this really shouldn't run to the upside anytime soon, so there's not too much risk involved. So pretty straightforward here, guys. Long term, looks like a great stock, but still a lot of Chinese FUD going on right now. Doesn't look like it's done pulling back anytime soon. So unfortunately, this can get a lot worse. So I would hold off for right now on the long side, and going short here looks like a pretty good play. So sorry to everyone who lost money in stock today, and good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is NIO NIO. Thanks everyone for watching today. I appreciate you guys. Please like the video. Please subscribe and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. You apes already know, diamond hands to the moon. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys tomorrow. Peace out.